我语音还没挂，但是听得到。这个 OK，挖到这里。还没有开始说话，就是说一周都丑。为什么什么？啊，对啊，因为我现在麦开着呀。Anyway，没有人看，放心好了，大部分都是等 YouTube 传录下来看。No idea. Anyway, welcome to the penultimate round, I believe, of the Exotic Racing Series Season 3, the first season of F1 2021. And we have 18 drivers tonight. This is a stream that's not been prepared at all because it's been a really busy November and December for me personally. And and anyways, we are in qualifying. Raymeister have set the fastest time of the session so far, with Stanley 0.3 of a second behind him. And this is qualifying one only. We will have 3 qualifying sessions as per usual. As Embassy is currently third, about half a second behind Raidmeister. We then have Rizzo, who, well, I can't check. Okay, Rizzo, who is a returning driver. I've no idea if he's participated in recent times, but he was a regular driver in the last couple of seasons, but I don't think he's a regular driver for this season. However, he is a very, very fast driver if anything is to be gone by for his performance in the last game of F1 2020. Alright. Okay, the pass of Tricks is currently on a lap. Forgive my inability to speak as I've just gone out to bed about 10 minutes ago, so I need to sort out myself as of now. As Trix goes 13th of the standings. Shep's currently on 2 laps of soft tires, but he's set a lap time yet. Incidentally, he's out of fuel now, so this will be his last lap, regardless of whether he can actually set a competitive lap this time around. Actually, he's invalidated, so no laps for Shep after 3 tries. That's not good for the Aston Martin driver. As we have Phoenix, a former championship leader. I don't believe he is the championship leader now. I've actually not checked the championship standings, but I believe the gap has increased by quite a lot in the last few races that I was not present. As Phoenix rounds his way through the... Oh, it's disqualification for Trix. He has spun in the final sector and he has been disqualified for going the wrong way, which is a very bad feature for this track. That is terrible for Trix. So he is out of qualifying without... well, he's been disqualified. I think his lap time was like 13th or 14th, which could have made him into Q2, but he's out now. So Phoenix will be, or is, starting his first final lap of the session as the track suddenly gets very cloudy. The sun has come in, and will that change drivers' feelings on track, because track temperature will be slightly dropping now. There won't be any visibility issue because you know, it's in the game. Final sector now. Up to 5th gear very early on through the Panama corner, and now powers his way towards the final banking and up towards the line for Phoenix. Is P5, only 1/10 of a second behind his teammate in Renzo. Both of them having the TTV tag in front of them. As Embassy, I think, has just improved momentarily ago, or moments ago, and he's now 1,000 behind Stanley, but that should be fine. Meanwhile, we have Ethiard, who is on a medium lap run, but 17.5, which looks to be enough to be at least in the top 15 to make it through to Q2, which will be enough for now. So the drivers that we really need to keep an eye out for are the two in the bottom 3. So Daryl in P16 needs to find about 1.5 seconds really to be safe. He needs to reach to the level of Koto and Karas to actually make it into Q3. As Sheps has also started a lap. Embassy has already retired from the session. He is through to Q2, so he's decided to just watch the other drivers lapping on the track. Meanwhile, Sheps has ignited again. It's raining. It has started raining in qualifying 1, which means the final 8 minutes of qualifying is gonna be absolutely terrible. And that means Daryl and Sheps are in very much bothering situations here, because it is raining heavily here in Portimao. And Daryl cannot make the apex at all through the Panama corner. This is not a good lap at all for the Ferrari driver. And qualifying 1 may be over already, yes! Daryl spins and crashes into the wall. Oh, it's another spin for the Alfa Romeo of Fasek. But he is through. 5 is P9. Shep is going to be out. He's invalidated. The track is completely wet. It's over. So Daryl, Sheps, and Trix out of qualifying 1. And let's see then what's going to happen in Q2 then. Because this is over for sure. There's no chance for any driver to improve. DRS has been disabled. Track is too wet. Qualifying 1 is over. Shep is doing donuts on the track. It's finished. Everyone will retire from the session. If you don't, you're wasting other people's time. Either way, that's Raymeister, Stanley, Embassy, Rental, and Phoenix top 5. With Psycho, Kofi, Ethed, or however you want to pronounce that name. Ethide? Eastside? I have no idea, but it's P8 with Finsick and Ruff in P9, P10. Shares Prison, Total Crash, and Drapery both also makes it through with Daryl and Sheps, who invalidated all of his 3 to 4 laps on the soft tires and couldn't set a lap time, and he is out of qualifying. So both of the Williams need to retire and aside, because I don't believe anyone's gonna set any lap time, so we will take a break and come back shortly.那你说你想换什么呀？不行。Oh, so Raidmeister is leading by 28 points. Oh, wow. Okay. If you're watching Prison, tell Phoenix your time. 4.5 minutes should not be wasted here. Because I haven't set everything up, so if I need to go to Discord, I need to tab out, which means it will be black. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Anyway, qualifying 1 is complete. We have run through the order already once, but it will be Daryl, Sheps, and Trix out of the qualifying. So 5 more drivers will be, well, eliminated in the next session. Let's see who will be the 5 in short time. The Raidmeister is leading the championship by lots of points then. So has he? No, he's not crowned yet, but he should be very close to become Season 3 champion of the Exotic Racing Series. My brain is not really functionable to calculate the points tonight, so we will leave that to Discord to sort that out. But I'll try my best to do what I can do in commentary. It's still raining in qualifying too. Sometimes if it rains at the end of the first qualifying session, it might be completely dry in Q2. However, we may have weather conditions once again in qualifying too. So depending on whether there will be drier conditions or there will be winter conditions, drivers will be coming out at different times to try to make the best of the track conditions available to them. So intermediate tires for Ethide. He has put on 6.4 laps of fuel. Let's see. Rental has put in 6.9 laps of fuel, so most of them are using a lot of fuel in the car. So Britain has 5.7 liters or laps of fuel. I beg your pardon. I think that means laps of fuel. So Stanley has also put in 5 laps of fuel. So most of them are on 5 to 6 laps of fuel to try to run a long time into the session, because the intermediate tires, they don't really wear out, and the one set of inters can really do 3 to 4 laps in a row, which is why they're putting a lot of fuel compared to a dry qualifying session. So let's see then, who is first on track? Is it Phoenix? No. Is it his teammate Renzo? Yes. So be on board with Renzo then. I think he finished 4th in the first qualifying session. Let's see how he's going to do in these not yet treacherous conditions, but you can see how much he's fighting his wheel already on his outlap in qualifying 2. This is a track that's very easy to get oversteer with, and in these intermediate conditions, there will be a higher opportunity of making a mistake, just like Renzo did coming out of the final corner. A huge swapper of oversteer as he starts his first final lap of the session. Turn 1 looks stable. Turn 2, not so much. Trail braking into turn 3, and now the very, very tricky turn 4. You will lose the traction in dry conditions. Renzo fighting the wheel like crazy through the uphill corner, and now downhill into the hairpin, locking up both of the front tires. Down to 2nd gear, up to 3rd, trying to get as much traction as possible, still lifting off in 5th gear in these conditions, holding in 6th through the right, and then down to 3. Stanley has retired from the session. Stanley has already crashed out of the 2nd qualifying session. Let's go on board with shares. There is Stanley, pinged it into the wall, and that is our first elimination in Q2. Stanley Goes Racing is out in the Alpine. Coming out of the final corner then is Renzo. Can he save it? Well, at least he did not crash out. Well, that's how bad the conditions is. How about his teammate Phoenix coming across the line? And I have just been bugged out because someone is calling me on WeChat. That's not very good. Anyway. We have Ethide currently top, 600 of a second behind is Phoenix. Blizzard, Ray Bison now 3rd. Look at the gap between the top 3. It's crazy. Psycho now goes to the top in the McLaren, a 125.936. That is very close between the top 4. Actually, the gap is less than a tenth of a second between the top 4. So Renzo still needs to put on a competitive lap, but his lap is already ruined because he spun in the last corner on the last lap. So he's gonna try to push on the next lap. Meanwhile, Shears is letting drivers go, so he is not on a lap. Can Eyesight improve? No. Psycho is improving though, but the look of things, he's up by 3/10 in the first sector. The rain looks to have eased away. We may be looking at drier conditions in the latter stage of qualifying 2 if the rain stops, which I think it has. So these times may not be mattering at all as Embassy now goes top, but I don't think they matter because look at the time that Psycho is improving. He's up by 0.5 of a second through 2 sectors. So surely then everyone is going to dive into the pits later or sooner to put on dry tires. As Psycho rounds out the final corner, lifting off slightly in intermediate conditions, he's going to try to finish the lap still. This will be provisional pole by half a second, but times will be coming down at a rate of nuts. Raidmeister is P6, he's still pushing on, not pitting yet. How about Drapery Balls? He's bailed out of the lap. He's coming in, he's gonna wait for the drier conditions to come, I think. Koto is already selected soft tires in the pits, so he is ready and raring to go. Yellow flag in the final sector, that is the AlphaTauri of Britain. Probably just at the moment, he's also gonna pit now. As S-Side is going to finish his third intermediate time and goes to P2 provisionally. Now there are only 8.5 minutes left in the qualifying session. So how much is the track going to dry out? There is also going to be a problem. As S-Side just... okay, he's letting the other drivers through very kindly. That's Renzo, who's currently only 9th and still pushing on those intermediate tires. It's definitely still intermediate conditions. The only thing that matters now is when is the condition going to turn to dry, or is it going to turn to dry at all? It's still slippery out there, but if the sun comes out, it will dry very, very fast. Shears is going to finish this lap. Can he put in a competitive lap time? Yes, he can. 7th currently, about a second behind Raidmeister, who just went faster. A 1:25.079 for the Aston Martin driver, also our championship leader, if I'm not mistaken. He is flying. I believe he is a championship leader at least. My short-term memory is abysmal. If I got that wrong, apologies. As Renzo is 6/10 up after 2 sectors. Is he going to pit, or is he going to finish this lap and then pit? He's going to finish this lap. It's going to put in P5 on the board. That's not a bad effort. For Renzo, Shears is down by a 10th. S-Side is invalidated, but still pushing on. So some of the drivers, I mean most of the drivers think it's not a dry tires yet, because nobody has come out in dry tires. Embassy could go to top here, and he doesn't. Misses out by 44 thousandths of a second for the Red Bull driver. As Carras now pits for the AlphaTauri, Embassy jumps over the curb. That's not good for the chassis if it's real life. Hopefully it's coming out on Inters, so maybe the track is not going to be dry enough. We shall see that, because although the rain has stopped, the track is quite wet, and we don't see any sunshine yet. The Kofi is going to push on a brand new set of intermediate tires, where most of the other drivers are in the pits, so a clean window for the Ferrari driver, the only Ferrari remaining after the other one got eliminated in the first qualifying session. Is anyone else pushing? Drapery Balls is on an out lap, so he is also pushing on the intermediate tires. How about Ruff? He has invalidated. Is Embassy pushing? No, he is invalidated. S-Side, is he going to do another lap? He is. He's still going on. He's still got enough fuel, and he's still improved by 0.2 of a second, replacing Psycho and going up into 3rd place. So Shears has selected soft in the pits, but he's not come out yet. Now he's selected the Inters again. Maybe it's not going to be dry enough then. By the look of things, it's going to be very touch and go. Let's see Kofi. He's on the end of his final flying lap. Oh, his first flying lap, I beg your pardon, the end of his first flying lap. And it's not a great effort, but it's P9, which is in the top 10. Finsick has just started his first flying lap out of this set of new intermediate tires. You get 3 sets, I believe, in qualifying, or 2 sets. But should be more than enough for all the drivers to have a go. Renzo is 4/10 down now. Does that mean maybe the track is getting drier and the Inters are not at their best now? Is a crossover going to come? Where is it going to come? Drapery Balls to the line. 13th, improved by 2 seconds, but is still 1.5 seconds behind the cutoff line. We already have Stanley out of the session, so only 4 other drivers will be eliminated. Koto has just started his lap on the intermediate tires. He was one of the first ones to select soft tires in the pits, but he's not decided to use them because track is apparently too wet. There is a slight dry line you can see trying to form on the track, but definitely not the time yet. However, this is a game made by Codemasters, and if it dries, it can dry very, very fast. Top 5 have all gone into the pits. Embassy has selected soft tires. Is anyone going to try to gamble on dry tires in the dying stage of qualifying 2? Kofi is pitting. Okay, interesting. Finsick is going to finish his lap. And it's P5. That's a good improvement by half a second, up into 5th place for the Alfa Romeo driver. That's a much better effort. How about Phoenix then? He's done by 1.5 seconds. He's going to pit. Oh! He's lost it. And he saved it. Perfect save. Surely now he's got to get into the pits. And where is he going? He's trying to get back onto the track actually. So, no pitting for Phoenix. He's going to push on the same set of intermediate tires. How about Toto's first round? On the Inters, it's only P13, so he is 0.6 of a second behind the cutoff line. The cutoff line currently is the Mercedes of Shares, who has invalidated and will not improve this lap. Top 4 are safe because it's not dry. It's definitely not dry. There are only 2.5 minutes left. So Finsick is still pushing on. He's almost 10th up after 2 sectors. But he's also out of fuel, so this will be his final lap regardless for the Alfa Romeo driver. And he's gone wide. Oh, he's not invalidated, but he's pitting. So Finsick may be safe because it looks like it might be too dry for intermediates now. Is that improving at all then? Britain is slightly improving though. 28 thousandths though, that's not a lot, and he's invalidated. He's going to have another try. That's not good. Phoenix doesn't look like to be improving on this lap either. The track might be too dry for Inters, you know? This could be very touch and go. I've seen a Discord message pop up. Unfortunately, I can't switch to that because I've not got that set up today. I need to tab out the game to go to Discord tonight, so it's not the most convenient thing for me to do. I will check that out in the basically interval between Q2 and Q3. So Kofi is out then. Kofi is already in the pits, so he will be eliminated and starting, well, all of them will be starting on a fresh set of dry tires if it does not rain in race because Q2 is wet. Karas though, he's still pushing on. In the first sector, he's one of the only 3 that can still improve. He's up by about 1/10 in the first sector. He needs to keep that improvement going in the final 2 sectors. How about Shares? He's invalidated. So I think Shares is out. I mean, he's not out yet, but he's out of, in terms of can he improve its time because he can't anymore. Ras very much struggling through the right-hander at the top of the hill. Now, moving to this very tricky braking zone, completely missed the apex. He didn't invalidate the lap, but surely, yeah, that's 2/10 down. So the grip wasn't there, really. The grip is not there at all at the end of the session. Koto is also invalidated, so Shares just about made it through by setting a lap time that's 23 thousandths faster than Kofi's Ferrari. DRS just got enabled. So if anyone actually tried to gamble, it might have worked, you know? But nobody did, and they are out. So Raidmeister finishing ahead of Embassy, S-side, Psycho, Finsick, Renzo, Phoenix, Ralph, Brizzy, and Shares making it into Q3. They will fight it out for pole. And Kofi, Karas, Toto, Jeffrey Boss, and Stanley are out of qualifying. 5 more drivers eliminated. Who's gonna be on pole? We'll see you in a bit. So final standing then, all qualifying 2. 10 drivers make it through, 5 more eliminated. So both of the Ferraris are out. And most of the other teams actually have at least 1 driver in Q3, apart from Haas and Ferrari, I believe. It's dry. It's fully dry in Q3. This will be a frantic qualifying session on a pretty short Portugal track in Portugal. Drivers are eager to drive out already. That's one of the Mercedes out of the pits. We will be on board with him, and I will take a break, and we will see you in a bit after I put on all the graphics. Anyway, on board with S-side. He's already started his flying lap here, the first in Q3. So, fully dry conditions again. Now this will be maximum attack for all the drivers in the lobby. Absolutely trying to maximize every single corner, every single corner entry, every single corner exit, and trying to not get affected by traffic like S-side is about to face, but Finsick of the Alfa Romeo gets out of the way cleanly. So, coming out of the final corner then, not using all the track available, so maybe a banker lap for S-side. This is not really the fastest run, a 1:16.9 for the Mercedes driver. We will then look for Phoenix, who is the second across the line, and he improves by 0.3 of a second over the Mercedes driver's time. So P1 for Williams. Embassy has invalidated, so he will not be able to set a lap time, and it's down to Phoenix teammate Neto, who has been within one spot of his teammate in both qualifying 1 and qualifying 2, but he is 0.3 of a second behind his teammate this time. How about the championship leader then? Raymax across the line by 1.5 of a second. The Aston Martin is on provisional pole. Brisson comes across the line, and he is down by a second on the current pole time. Shears is not really done a particularly competitive lap time, but he's just pipped Brisson by 1/10 of a second to go to P5 provisionally, but also the penultimate position right now. Ruff, meanwhile, he's also invalidated, so he won't be able to set the lap time. S-side is not improving. Where is he then? No, he's not. Finsick, however, does set the lap time, and he's 1.2 seconds behind. So not a great lap for Finsick either. How about Embassy then? On the Red Bull, he invalidated the first lap. He is going on for a second lap. However, look at his ERS level. It's down to less than 10%, which is not very good. Embassy flips pole by 1/7 of a second. What a lap from the Red Bull driver. Look at the gap between the top two. There's literally nothing separating Embassy and Raidmeister. Crazy stuff here in Portugal. Ruff, meanwhile, not yet a lap on board. And this doesn't look like to be a push lap, but surely he's gonna start now. Yes, he is. Opening up the ERS through the start finish straight. Towards turn 1. Slightly on the conservative side of things, but turn 2 much better. Well, that's turn 3, I believe. Now through turn 4, opening up DRS, and down through the hairpin of turn 5. Again, not using all the track available on the outside on the corner entry, which can really gain you time, because you can open up the corner more, which means you can carry more speed through the corner and carry a much smoother line. But this is much better on the right-hander there. Now, oh, that's a lot of understeer. That's a lot of understeer for Ruff. That's a massive amount of understeer, and he has invalidated. So Ruff is not gonna set a lap time again. We'll move on to Psycho then, just finishing his first sector, and into the second sector is the McLaren driver. He was pretty fast in the top 5 in the second session on the intermediate tires. So using trail braking, and how is that not an invalidation? The consistency of track limits from Codemasters Formula 1 game is absolutely shocking. As Psycho rounds off the penultimate corner, this is a valiant lap so far, although he did go 4 wheels off the track. Cross the line, that's P3. That's debatable to me. I mean, I don't think he gained any time through that part of the track, but, you know, you have to set the same standard for all the drivers. Still, a solid lap for Psycho. Meanwhile, Phoenix is also on his second push lap. approaching the end of the second sector. And now, into the final sector then. Oh, that's an apex that's been missed by Phoenix. That's not gonna do him a world of good. But this may still put him on pole position for now. Although he has to wait for others to finish. Actually, he's bailed out of the lap. After making that mistake, he has bailed out of the lap. How about Shares? Up by 3/10. That's only a position though. Needs more improvement to at least make himself into the third row on the grid. He needs 4/10 to move up into P5 or above. As Shares comes across the line, no, P7 only. He misses out on P5 by 10ths for now. So then, all eyes on Embassy, Raidmeister, Embassy and Raidmeister. They're both on their out laps, separated by 1,000 of a second so far through qualifying 3. Who can improve more? Who can improve at all, to be fair, for the pair of them? Deep breaths. Here we go. Embassy's final lap of this Portimao qualifying session. Is it him or Raidmeister on pole? Or are there any other drivers that may be able to challenge them? Through turn 1, 5th gear. Hitting the apex okay. Could be a little bit more aggressive on the inside, not slightly locking up on the outside left, I think. And now up the hill on the left-hander, very good rotation. Psycho is retired, he's out of time. Now using all the track available on corner entry. Perfect apex through the hairpin. A purple sector 1 for Embassy. 7th gear. Down to 3rd. Again, using a slightly wide line, could have taken a lot more speed through there. That's not very good, but a clean exit nonetheless. Not using a lot of track on the left through this corner. But he's still up by a 10th and a bit more after 2 sectors. Down towards the final sector, slightly oversteery. Coming out of the 3rd to last corner, now into the penultimate one. Trying to use a wide line to get the best exit. Coming out to the final corner. How much can Embassy improve? And how much is Raidmeister improve behind him? Embassy goes to P1 with a 116.436, so he has lost time, but Raidmeister, crucially, has invalidated on his final try. I think Phoenix is the last one that may be able to challenge pole position from Embassy. He's up by a 10th through the 1st sector. He's still got a shot here, the Williams driver. How about his teammate? His teammate is also pushing on in front of him. How about Ruff? He's down by 4.5 seconds and... are there time left? No, he's pitting. Shears is out. Side is out. And Raidmeister is also finished. There's no more time. How about Phoenix? Up by a 10th after 2 sectors. He made a mistake here on his last go. That's why he bailed out of that one. He's hit the apex perfectly this time. And through the final 2 corners, 5th gear, trying to drag the car towards the finish line, trying to cut as much as possible through the inside curb and use the shortest distance possible to the line. Phoenix goes P3 and he displaces Psycho to move up into the better of the 2nd row, missing out by 48,000 to Raidmeister for P2, but a solid effort for Phoenix as Physic is doing his best interpretations of donuts on track. He's the last one to finish on the track and his rear tires must be absolutely cooking. But that is the end of an exhilarating qualifying session. Embassy in the end taking pole by 84 thousandths of a second. As S-Side has said in the Discord chat, he did a 16.2, but invalidated due to turn 2 understeer. Yeah, he did! Oh wow! So the Mercedes would have taken pole then, if he didn't make a mistake. But he's gonna start from P7. So we've got a contender. We've got a contender starting on the 4th row. And he could be one to watch in the race coming up next in a bit time. Qualifying 3 complete then of the Portuguese Grand Prix, the penultimate round of Season 3 of the Exotic Racing Series. Embassy taking pole by 84 thousandths of a second over Raidmeister. Phoenix and Psycho finishing in P3 and P4. Rims and Britain will be on the 3rd row. I think that's Britain's best qualifying performance out of the races that I have commentated on. S-Side and Finsick on the 4th row. S-Side could have done a 16.2. So he could be one to watch in the race. Good evening and welcome to the penultimate round of the Exotic Racing Series. This is Season 3 and we will have Belgium to go next Thursday. But we are in Portugal on the brand new Portimao circuit for F1 2021. 33 laps to be completed because it rained in qualifying. Most of the drivers will be starting on the medium tires. You can do medium soft here, you can do soft medium here. So Britain and S-Side using the soft tires. So it's Drapery Balls, Stanley and Sheps down in P14, 15 and 17. Darrow meanwhile on the hard tires starting from P16, a rather odd strategy choice. But it's interesting because S-Side could have set the provisional pole time if he didn't invalidate. So he's gonna try to attack from the get-go by using the soft tire, the red wall soft tire. So he will definitely then be ones to watch, starting from P7 in the Mercedes. But we do have our current top 2 in the championship, starting from the front row. Raidmeister leading by 28 points over Embassy. By my calculation, if he finishes above P6, he will wrap up the championship at the end of this race, no matter what happens next week in Spa-Francorchamps. So, all 18 drivers ready to line up here for 33 laps of racing around the Portimao circuit. Who's going to make the best start, the best overtaking spot out of the whole track? Definitely turn 1. It's a very long start-finish straight. We're ready for the lights to turn red. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. All 5 lights are on. And we are racing in Portugal. Who's got the best start then? Can't really see from that angle, but from this angle it's clear. The Portugal Embassy has got a perfect start. Raidmaster has to back out of turn 1, and Phoenix trying to take it all the way around the outside of him. Can he make it stick? He's trying. He's getting squeezed out and couldn't make it stick. Cycle now trying to join the attack for P2, but Embassy already leading by a second. That's a very good start from the post sitter. Nothing doing. Oh, it's a dive. It's a huge dive from Renzo. He's hit Cycle almost, and he is almost spun. And there's shenanigans and chaos behind for both of the Mercedes drivers. Shears already passing S-side, and Shears sliding through turn 7 and having to give up the position again. So there's a bit of lag, I think, between Shears and S-side. The changing positions left, right, and center. But a clean start relatively for all of the drivers, apart from Daryl now dropping down to the back of the field. That's because he's on the hard tires. Oh, a spin for the Alpine of Ruff. He is around. And will drop to the back of the grid. So a perfect start for Embassy. The currently second in the championship really doesn't... I mean, nobody really has a shot at winning this championship apart from Raidmeister, unless Raidmeister makes a huge mistake. So they're trying to fight for P2 in the championship, and Embassy is in the best possible position. So side by side for the Mercedes driver at lap 2. Oh, Trix is pitting and got a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane. That's not good for Trix's race. So both chaps, Trix and Darren, are all in the pit. So they have made some contact at the back end of the field. Probably as we have a fan in the chat saying, well, for Cycle basically. Trying to urge him on to try to attack the top 3. The McLaren currently behind Phoenix. Oh, and that's slightly wide. They're all on medium tires, all of these drivers, I believe. So Blizzard on the soft tires needs attack now. Let's look. So P5 for Blizzard on the soft tires. He's made up 1 position over Renzo. SI has not made up any positions. He did lose 1 to Shears, but gained it back. He's now on the back of Renzo, trying to attack again. We will put the tire graphic on right now. And DRS will be available next lap. Not on this next straight though. This is not a track that's known for overtaking, but the strategy can be really, really interesting. So Embassy now Raidmeister trying to close the gap down to a second. Oh, yellow flag. Something has happened at the end of the field. That's Daryl, who has spun. Coming out on the medium tires. So did Raidmeister get DRS? Yes. Ruff has picked up a penalty. SI should be attacking Renzo. No, because Renzo also has DRS from Britain up ahead. Oh, Psycho already had a penalty. Psycho already has picked up a penalty after 3 laps out of 33. That is terrible, terrible news for the McLaren driver. A very, very early penalty on the track. That's very easy to pick up warnings. But that is surely way too early for the McLaren driver. He needs to keep his cool and try to just pick up his rhythm once again. SI now on the end of Renzo, surely going to try to attack. Renzo's completely off the apex. Embassy picks up the fastest lap of the race. Renzo is already out of overtake. He's not going to gain any of that back. That's shocking from Renzo. You can't gain overtake back on this track at all. Renzo is already out of overtake and out of juice as Carras passes... no, Carras gets passed by Koto, or something happened between this gaggle of cars. Outside the points, well... well, that happened. So J-Prey balls around and almost took Stanley out. I don't know if Stanley picked up any damage, but that's lost him time. About 3 seconds in avoidance. of the spinning halves, as Trix also picks up a 3-second penalty. The third driver to pick up a penalty this race. Oh, yellow flag for Drapery Balls again. He is off into Narnia once again. Struggling in qualifying 1, barely made it to qualifying 2, and now struggling in the race for Drapery Balls. This is a tough track for any of the kind of relatively inexperienced racers to do a high fuel run on this track. It's very, very tough. There are a lot of opportunities of spinning, getting oversteer, etc., etc. And all the drivers have to be very careful. Someone, no! Oh my goodness! Well, that is a stranded AlphaTauri that we cannot really see because of the trackside camera. And safety car is out. This may change everything. There might be contact between Koto and Karas, I believe, because both of their name tags went down. But I didn't see what happened. So what are the front runners going to do? They're going to pit? Or no? Let's see then. Embassy is only on 4 laps of mediums. I mean, the hards can go to the end, but you don't really want to be on hards on this track. The mediums can't go to the end. So, should the soft tire runners pit? Let's see then. Let's see what the drivers are going to do. I may not pit, but Embassy is. Raidmeister is also, so I'm completely wrong there. Someone is in the pits. Someone has stayed out. S-side has stayed out on the soft tires. So he's going to be in the lead of the race. The Mercedes driver who could be on pole, but invalidated. And Darrell gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So Embassy, the effective race leader, is on hard tires. And they're all on the hard tires. Okay. I don't like that. If there's a late safety car. Oh, Ruff also has a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So that's 2 now. Both Ruff and Darrell have a drive-through penalty under the safety. Actually, Psycho didn't pit either. So Psycho is our race leader then of the people that have stayed out. So it's Psycho, S-side, Renzo, Shares, Finsick, Kofi, Stanley, who's decided not to pit around this round of safety car. And now net lead. Embassy has pitted for hard tires. Raidmeister has decided to go with him, so that's sensible, because he just needs to follow what Embassy does. He's got a 28-point lead. He doesn't need to care about winning this race. He only needs to finish around Embassy to secure his championship 1 race early. Phoenix then also on the hard tire, and so is Britton. I can understand why Britton wants to pit. He started on soft tires basically. And he's now on the hards, but for all those medium starters, surely they've still got a bit of life in them. And these hard tires are going to be very tough to A, warm up, B, find pace once a safety car is in. And the likes of Ruff, who has retired from the session, so he is done with the game because he's got a drive-through penalty on the safety car. I think Ruff is not in the lobby. Asad had pitted. Oh! A late call for the Mercedes driver. So that's going to drop him all the way to the back of the field. Actually, no. That might be clever. That might be clever. He decided to put on the mediums now. So he's got about 2% of an advantage on tires over the rest of them, because under safety car you still get 1 to 2% of tire wear per lap. So maybe he thinks this set of mediums can do the remaining 27 laps, but not if he pitted a lap earlier. Or maybe he just missed the pit entry or whatever. It could be a strategy call, it could be a mistake, or it could work. We don't know. Anyway, SI is now basically 6th in the people that pitted. Everyone from 7th downward has pitted for new tires. Safety car in this lap. That's a very, very late notice. I was caught on by that. Cycle now needs to hold the whole field. So, top 6 on older tires. 5 laps older than the rest of them. And top 5 on the mediums. 6 Stanley on the soft. When will Cycle go? Is anyone going to pick up any penalties for colliding with the other driver? Cycle is already gone. And Randall didn't go with him. So Randall is under huge attack for Shears. Shears is under huge attack for Finsick. They're all trying to make their way down into turn 1. Side by side between Finsick and Shears. And somehow they all made it through to the other side of turn 1. So Trix gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. We now have a fight for the first of the fresh tire runners. That's Embassy on the fresh hard tires trying to fight Stanley. We'll look from Raidmeisters as Finsick dives it down to the inside of Shears. Embassy dives it down to the inside of Stanley. Raidmeister gets a swap of oversteer. They're still going side by side between Embassy and Stanley. And Stanley holds his ground, and so did Shears. So no move really to be made on the opening lap of the safety car restart. Everyone staying put apart from S-side make it ahead of Koto for P11. Yellow flag, that Trix out of the session. Is there going to be another safety car? No, because they are still driving at normal pace. The yellow flag in sector 2, but no safety car to be called. That's the hard driver of Trix out of this race. At the end of lap 8 of 33, then Cycle leads by half a second over Renzo. So Renzo's early usage of overtake is actually worth it because he got them all back in the safety car conditions as Stanley picks up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. And now the one to watch is S-side. He's on the end of Brizzen. He's on the medium tires. Brizzen really shouldn't fight this, but this is for position. S-side trying to go around the outside through turn 1, but he cannot find a way through. Brizzen is slightly dropping off to the back of the other hard tire runners, so that's why S-side is pushing really hard to try to pass Brizzen, but the DRS is not enabled yet because of the safety car has only come in. Oh, there's a move though. It's a move for P5. That's Stanley trying to dive down the inside of Kofi. Meanwhile, we also have S-side still looking at the back of Brizzen. Did Stanley make the dive? No. But Kofi is very much struggling here on those medium tires. The softs still have a little bit life in them. But Stanley, if he wants to make a move, he needs to make it soon. Because sooner or later, the mediums will be better than those soft. And we have a problem for Daryl. He's lost his right part of end play. That's why he is struggling down the field. So this Ferrari driver is going to drop further behind. He didn't catch up to the safety car initially anyways. But he is completely out of contention. Now Embassy really closing in on Stanley. He's going to deploy his overtake. DRS is enabled, but not for this straight because the detection point was on the lap before. Embassy has deployed a lot of overtake but unable to pass Stanley. Meanwhile, side by side between S-side and Brizzen. Is S-side brave enough? No. Into turn 1, Brizzen takes it around the outside, keeping its P10 position. And net P4 battle here between the hard tire runner of Brizzen and the medium tire runner of S-side in the Mercedes. But now, DRS wide open for all of the drivers. Embassy trying very hard to pass Stanley, but he couldn't find a way through. Meanwhile, Raidmeister braking really late, almost went into the back of Embassy, but also he has done well to avoid the rear end of the Red Bull. Meanwhile, it's S-side getting the better traction and better run, coming out of the corner and getting past the hard tire runner of Brizzen on those medium compound tires. S-side makes its way up into P10, P4, net position for S-side, but the problem for him is surely these mediums cannot run all 27 laps from when the safety car was out to the end of the race. Surely he's got to pit again. Otherwise, these mediums are going to have a very high tire wear, unless he's got a setup that's very much on the lower tire wear side of things, but he is pushing like hell, trying to close to the end, the rear end of Phoenix, because Phoenix is 8 tenths behind Rainmeister, so Phoenix couldn't really get a slipstream here. He's trying to use his overtake as well, is Phoenix, and trying to get away from SI. Both of them actually on similar overtake level, around the 40% mark. So Daryl now picks up a 3-second penalty. Psycho meanwhile has a lead of 1.5 seconds over Renzo. That's very, very good, as Daryl has now retired from the session. Is there a safety car? Yes! Yes, there is! I think Stanley's strategy might have worked, because he can now put on a set of mediums and go to the end of the race. I think Stanley may have won here in terms of strategy. But he doesn't look to have the pace because he couldn't pass the medium runners on his soft tires. But maybe he's not fast, but he might be one of the only drivers on new mediums at the next restart. This will also help S-side because his mediums will be able to save a bit of tire life during this round of safety car. Do the front runners pit then? They can put on a set of hards and easily go to the end of the race. But do they really want to put on a set of hards? Or they're going to try to wait for a next safety car to put on softs and then bolt on that set of soft tires. Let's see then. Strategy in play. Psycho, is he coming in? Is he staying out? He is staying out. Psycho has gone bold. Randall has gone for the conservative strategy. Kofi pits. Stanley obviously pits. He can put on a set of mediums. And all of the hard tire runners pit. Rainmeister is in, Phoenix is in. That's why you do not pit for hard tires in the first round of safety car. Embassy incidentally has stayed out on those hard tires. He can definitely make them to the end. But those hard tires, he's got pace, he got pole position, but the hard tires are terrible. So Renzo, he's forced onto a set of hards because he started on the mediums. Kofi has decided to put on a set of softs. I like that. You would rather push on the softs than struggling on the hards, because it's not fun to use hard tires. As you can see, Renzo has spun under the safety car because he's on hard tires. So, this is a tough one to call now. Psycho, Shares, and Finsick, they are waiting for a safety car in about 6 laps of time, because softs can do 15 at least. So if there's a safety car in 5 to 10 laps of time, they might be in for big money here. But if there's no more safety car, they will need to pit for softs and try to close the gap as much as possible, which is going to be tough for them, because the delta between soft and medium is a little bit, but not enough to catch up to a full pit stop. But Embassy, he's going to the end. Koto is going to the end. So these two are effectively P1 and P2 here. They're on hards and mediums, with Kofi on softs right behind them. Brand new soft, I remind you, and then brand new hards for Renzo behind him. And then mediums for Stanley, Riedmeister, Phoenix, S-side, Blizzard, Sheps, J Preboz is on soft, Ruff, his AI is on hard tires, but that doesn't matter. 15 drivers left, all to play for here in Portugal, with 20 laps to go. Safety car should be coming in at the end of this lap. We will have exactly 20 laps to go to see out this strategical race now that has been interrupted by 2 safety cars so far. Oh, Psycho has spun! Psycho has spun with shares! Psycho, who has he spun with? He has spun with shares at the head of the field! I am speechless! I've never seen anything like that in my whole commentating career! Shares has spun with Psycho at the head of the field, and Finsick now is going to be leading this race. Stanley is dropping down position like crazy. I have no idea what happened to him, and there's more spinning. His ship that spun. Ruff is an AI. Stanley has lost out somehow a lot of positions there. I think Psycho's rejoining bunks them all up because he is 2.5 seconds behind the other guys as there's a send from Britain into S-side. S-side is holding his ground around the outside and keeping its position ahead of Britain. Meanwhile, there's also a change for position for P3. I think that's Kofi getting ahead of Kodo on those brand new soft tires. This is crazy stuff here, import them out. Raidmeister, meanwhile, is on the rear end of Phoenix. So he has lost out a position here in the early fights of the second safety car restart. They're all bottled up behind Psycho because his tires are old. Meanwhile, side by side coming out of the final corner is Kofi and Embassy. And on those soft tires, even if Kofi is a slightly slower driver on single lap pace, surely he's got that move down. Embassy is not giving it up though. He's still trying to re-steal the slipstream, but into turn 1, Kofi will brake later and takes P2 from Embassy. Meanwhile, side by side, around the outside is Phoenix, and Psycho is around again. He's caught too much of the inside curb, and around he goes from leading this race 1.5 laps ago to down to penultimate position, second to last with shares. What happened there? At the safety car restart, Randall dives it down the inside of Koto. This is brand new hard tires against slightly old medium tires. Not really old because most of the laps were done under the safety car. They're going side by side through this part of the track, somehow not making any contact, still side by side. Randall using more of the overtake and gaining that P4 position on track. So he's the first one out of the brand new tire group to get ahead, basically, on those hard tires, incidentally. Now Kofi there, he needs another safety car, basically, because he had to pit again, but he is looking to claim the lead of the race on a different strategy, basically trying to stop one more time compared to the rest of the grid, and on the softer compound tires, Kofi will be able to slipstream past Finsick on the main straight. We're approaching halfway through this exhilarating Portimao race. Kofi takes the lead into turn 1. And the Ferrari leads the Portuguese Grand Prix. Meanwhile, battles here for P5. Phoenix down the inside of Koto. Surely that's good enough? No. Yes. Phoenix is through on Koto. Raidmeister will be eager to pass him because Koto is on older medium tires and you can see how much he's struggling. Raidmeister almost forced to tap him. Kofi has lost out on Finsick. Kofi has a terrible exit coming out of this corner and he's lost out on Finsick. And this race has just suddenly come alive and S-side is trying to all kinds of different lines to pass Koto. Koto is really struggling on the 6-lap older medium tires. S-side trying to not dive into Koto, but Koto leaves it open. He's got absolutely no grip on those old medium tires. Going side by side through the penultimate corner. This is not a corner you want to be side by side with. And the Mercedes and the McLaren going side by side through the final corner. And now Britain joins the party. He's trying to go around the outside of the McLaren. Britain now on the end of Koto. Meanwhile, Kofi down the inside of Finsick and going for P1. And Phoenix passing Rachel between the Williams drivers, and now Phoenix now into P4. Koto completely off the track to try to fend off S-side, and now Britain is on the inside of him through turn 3. Koto is losing positions left, right, and center, and now he's trying to ease out Britain to the outside of the track, but that's so successful. And where has the Alpine come from? He just dives through. Oh no, Koto is re-diving down the inside, 3 wide into the hairpin, and Britain has come out on top. And Koto still stays ahead of Stanley, who went for the opportunistic move, but couldn't get awarded. But Koto is really struggling on those old medium tires. They're dying massively. Really close to the rear end of Renzo is Raidmeister. Renzo is struggling on those hard tires, and he's not gonna get ERS on the next straight, which is crucial. Same thing for Finsick then. Let's look for the fight for P2 first, because Finsick doesn't have DRS on Kofi, which means it's an easy move for Embassy. Going down the inside of Finsick for P2. We will swiftly move on to Raidmeister, going down the inside of Renzo for P5. Same move on the DRS, easy as you like. Stanley has already passed Koto before the turn 1 breaking point. So Stanley up into P9 then, and Koto really struggling now on those 11-lap-old medium tires. But he's still in the points. He's got drapery balls on those soft tires though, hunting behind him. But he's out of ERS, unfortunately, for the house drivers. Down to 13% compared to Koto's 19%, to be fair. Neither of them really have any overtakes left to be used. Meanwhile, it's ERS has left the session. Embassy has disconnected. And surely that's championship for Raidmeister. And surely now Raidmeister will be crowned champion of Season 3 of the Exotic Racing Series. Nobody can catch Raidmeister if he finishes P5, to be fair. No matter what happens to Embassy, he's gonna be champion of the season. Meanwhile, Embassy's AI, using overtake, using DRS, his AI is trying to repass Finsick for P2. And he is through on Finsick using the DRS. Meanwhile, S-Side moving past Renzo through turn 1, drapery balls moving past Koto for P10. You've got moves everywhere you look, everywhere you see. And Embassy once again trying to use all of his overtake and DRS from the AI to pass Finsick, but now Phoenix getting the better traction on those medium tires. He has passed Embassy, and now Phoenix has put himself in prime position to win this Portuguese Grand Prix. Embassy, meanwhile, he has rejoined, but he's lost crucial ground, and he is on older, hard tires. Yellow flag, Shares has retired. Shares has retired in turn 1. Safety car. Safety car has been deployed. Safety car has been deployed right as Embassy rejoins the session. Now, does everyone pit for softs or mediums? Embassy is surely going to pit and try to mount an incredible comeback. Finsick is definitely going to come into the pits. Kofi pits for mediums, or can you drag the softs to the end? Ruff now has joined. He's 13th, still circulating with his AI. And he may be able to pick up some. Everyone pits. Everyone is in the pits. Esta is only one. Continuing on. And that's a blunder. And Kofi suddenly up into P2 on those soft tires. What a strategy from Kofi. He is a net P2 by putting on the soft tires on the last safety car. Perfect strategy for Kofi. This standing has been turned upside down. Look at this. 7th, SI up to 1st. 11th, Kofi up to 2nd. 8th, Finsick up to 3rd. Incredible stuff here in Portugal. So Britain, Renzo on the mediums. Interesting. So they've gone conservative. They've gone for tire longevity, then pure pace. Which one is going to win out then? It's also a chance for Psycho to catch up to the back of the field. And Ruff, who has rejoined the session now, is on 7-lap-old mediums. That's not the right strategy. You would rather pit for brand new softs than such old mediums, right? Surely. Anyway, Koto is on hard. Is he running out of tires? No, he should pit for softs. Why doesn't he pit for softs? That's incredible from Koto. So safety car number 3 then at Portimao, as my voice starts dying already. This is gonna be a 12-lap sprint race to the end of the session. Koto, meanwhile, is found stance and decided to pit again for soft, surely. There we go. That's more like it. Onto the soft tires from McLaren of Koto. Ruff, meanwhile, he should pit for soft too. He should pit for soft too. On 7-lap old mediums, it's not very good, and he does listen as well. Into the pits goes the Alpine. And he gets a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane. The day just never gets better for Ruff, doesn't it? He had a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. He had multiple warnings. He's now picked up a penalty for speeding in the pit lane as well. Safety car should be coming at the end of this lap. We will have a 12-lap dash to the end of the race. There shouldn't be any more safety cars now. 12 laps. And 10 soft tire runners against 4 medium tire runners. This race is anyone's to be won as of now. The race leader, Esad, is the only one on old tires, but he has track position, which can be important here in Portimao. However, he's got 5 brand new soft runners behind him, and that's not good. So, is the safety car coming in then? Or is it gonna carry on for another lap? If it does carry on for another lap, it's good news for those soft runners. I think it's going to carry on for another lap, which means the strategy of Britton, Renzo and Drapery Balls may not be the best if they do have fresh softs remaining. If they don't, then they're forced onto the mediums, which is understandable, but I do believe Renzo at least has a set of softs available to him because he started on the mediums and pitted for hards. And pitted for... whoa, aside. Ghosted into the safety car there on my screen, but no disqualification, so a little bit of lag involved, probably. Please, no more shares and cycle again on this restart. We're gonna be on board, I think, with Phoenix, who I thought was gonna be in the boxing seat to win this race before the safety car came out for shares incident at turn 1. So we'll get a good look of the front 3 on this onboard. So it's gonna be an 11-lap dash instead of a 12-lap dash. Safety car should come in at the end of this lap because Ruff has now caught the queue. SI is already backing them up. He's the only driver on old tires and also on old medium tires. He's got 5 drivers behind him on brand new soft tires. Away we go then. 11 laps left. S-side is gone. There's a move already for P5. Raidmaster and Embassy fighting it out through turn 1. Who's gonna be Brave! Oh, around the outside goes Embassy. This is a fight for the effective championship lead here. Raidmeister doesn't need to fight this one. He only needs to hold P6 to win the championship. But he's still trying to fight it out. At the front though, Kofi dives it down the inside of S-side. Is he gonna make the move stick? S-side is wide on those medium tires. Meanwhile, side by side between Raidmeister and Renzo, Kofi leads the race in the Ferrari. Raidmeister meanwhile has passed or has held his position over Renzo on those medium tires. So S-side now, the cork in the bottle. Everyone behind him needs to pass him ASAP. S-side is really struggling here. The Ferraris need to pass him. The soft tire runners need to pass. Oh, contact between Physic. Oh, a speed for Embassy. Embassy is round, and so is S-side. S-side was round after contact with Physic, and we are going 3 wide. Embassy got front wing damage. His race is over. Embassy's race is completely over. S-side is retired from the session. This race has been blown wide open here in Portimao. Wow. And Raidmeister has also, in the pits, he's also picked up damage. Meanwhile, Raidmeister has also retired from the session. Does the championship go on then to Spa? Oh, that's spin for Koto. A spin for Koto at the rear end of the field. And he is round another point. Oh my goodness. People are going everywhere now. Stanley wide against J-Pre Boss, and he has lost a position, 2 positions I think, to Chef and J-Pre Boss. Oh, and the Haas is done it again. Wow. And Kofi picked up a 3-second penalty. So advantage Physic. Advantage Physic. He needs to hold off Phoenix, but Phoenix is so much faster. Phoenix may still win this race, you know. He may still win this race. Spin for J-Pre Boss. And he is wide and out of contention. Cycle meanwhile on the rear end of Britain. Soft versus mediums. DRS enabled. Phoenix is in the best possible position. He's got DRS on Physic. Physic doesn't have DRS on Kofi. I beg your pardon. And Phoenix is driving away from Renzo. Because Renzo is on those medium tires. Oh, Physic is wide. Physic is wide. And Phoenix seizes the opportunity and dives down the inside of Physic. Snatches P2 away on the road against the Alfa Romeo driver. Great cutback from the Physic. Meanwhile, side by side between Psycho and Britain behind them. Phoenix does make the move stick. How about Psycho? Yes, he is now ahead of Britain on those soft tires, but he does have a penalty. Let's look at the penalty, shall we? 6 seconds for Psycho, so that doesn't really matter for Britain then. Just need to stick behind Britain. Meanwhile, now the crucial thing now for Phoenix, he needs to stay within 3 seconds of Kofi and not pick up a penalty. He also needs Physic to stay as put as possible, because if they start to fight, Kofi may stretch away. 8 laps left in Portimao. So in a dive by Physic and the kind of door closing from S-side, both of the drivers going for the same apex, the aftermath of that, P1 and P2 in the championship crash and did not finish because of that. They both retired from the session after the contact between S-side and Physic. This is controversy here in Portimao. Raidmeister and Embassy are both out, and that may just mean we will still have a championship fight in Spa-Francorchamps, depending on where everyone else finishes. I'm not really sure in terms of how the other people behind Embassy and the Raidmeister are looking in terms of points, but we will get confirmation later on. So I'm looking at the league chat. There have been fingers pointed to Finsick, say his dive bomb killed Exide Embassy and Racemeister in one go. We will look at the footage if we can. At the end of this race, we need to focus on this race right now because surprisingly, Kofi is pulling away from Phoenix. So this may not be over then. If Phoenix makes any kind of mistake, there's still a chance for most of the men. Look at where Randall is. Randall has now dived down the inside of Finsick. Where has he come from? On those medium tires. Is he in the fight? They're making contact. That's actually Psycho making contact with Randall. On those soft tires trying to pass him. Dives down the inside is Randall. Finsick closes the door. They're making side-to-side contact. Psycho makes contact with Randall. It's all kicking off in Portimao. Stanley has already passed Koto. And he's now passed Shep for P7. Stanley is up into P7. All those penalties though, it's unlikely that he's gonna make it further ahead. As now, Psycho really push it. Oh, 3 second penalty! A 3 second penalty for Phoenix! This has completely changed the implications again. Psycho down the inside of Randall. They're fighting it out here for P4 on track. This may be not the final position because on countback, nobody knows who's gonna finish first. So, 6 laps to go. Kofi somehow leads Phoenix. A heroic drive from Kofi. Phoenix in P2. Finsick in P3. Psycho now looking threatening, but he's got more penalties in the front too. Can Randall find any kind of pace there at the back end of the race when those soft tires inevitably wear off? But he's too far behind, isn't he? Dives down inside his Psycho. And he picks up another penalty and scares Finsick off the racing line. So a massive dive by Psycho. Finsick got pushed wide. Psycho picks up another penalty. And Finsick now dropping down to P4. Oversteer from Renzo. Let's look at the leader gap. This gap is clearer to calculate all the penalties. So Kofi needs to keep it clean now. Oh, there's yellow flag. That's Chefs. Oh, absolutely smashing the advertising boards. But Stanley now, he's got a lot of pace. He's up against the medium runner of Brisbane. He's got no penalties though. Both of them will have overtake. Both of them have, both of them will have DRS. Both of them will have no overtake. But Stanley is very close to the rear end of Brisbane and getting the slipstream, getting to the inside of turn 1 and making the move stick. For P6 is the Alpine of Stanley Goes Racing. And he is through. Chefs, meanwhile, he's retired in the pit lane. That's good stuff from the Aston Martin. But that means he's going to be out of points. And J.P. Balls, who has spun at least 3 times in this race, by persisting through the whole of this race, will pick up a point, I believe. It is top 10 finishing in points here, right? Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, it should be. It's just the winner only gets 15 instead of 25 because of the different points standings. Meanwhile, Stanley is really fast, isn't he? He's caught up to the rear end of Randall, who's also sticking to the rear end of Finsick, but both of them are outside 3 seconds of both Kofi and almost Phoenix now. And Psycho, he's really fast. He's got the most amount of penalties in every single driver left in this lobby. So, yeah, that's not very good. Koto has got a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. Well, he's basically spun, slid through the grass, and the game decided to, oh no, he might get disqualified here. No. He's, oh, another penalty for Phoenix. Wow. So he's on 6 now. So the best position man is now Finsick again. He's 3.7 seconds behind Kofi, effectively 0.7 of a second behind Kofi. And this is... Oh, no, I've jinxed him. Well, then, he is around. So now, can Renzo try to push forward that? What is this? Stanley is on the rear end of Renzo, but he's also got a penalty. They're all pushing as hell, and they're all pushing above their weight, punching above their weight, pushing over their limit. Psycho will pass Phoenix here. Phoenix is also closing on Kofi. They're both catching Kofi, but Kofi is on the least amount of penalties out of the top three. Down the inside goes Psycho. He's past Phoenix into turn 1. He is through. Stanley, meanwhile, passes Renzo into turn 1 for P4. Now, can Renzo use his Stanley to try to push forward? He needs Stanley to push to close the gap. But Renzo himself is also sliding every single where. It's well, this is gonna be one of the most dramatic races of the calendar. We've seen a lot of safety cars, but this is gonna be one of the most dramatic finishes out of the final 11 laps. So many things happened in this race. Phoenix looked good, Embassy and Rainmaster looked good. They are all out of contention now. Who is really in contention? Almost into the final 2 laps now. Kofi needs to keep it on the ground and stretch away from Renzo. He can let Psycho go. No problem at all. Psycho has 6 more seconds of penalty than him. So Renzo is not sticking with Stanley. So those mediums really are not working, huh? He should have put on the softs, but he decided to put on mediums, and this may have ruined Renzo. If he was on softs, he might have won this race, you know. He's not got DRS on the main straight, which means he's 4.9 seconds behind Kofi, and now Brizzer is trying to attack Renzo for an effective, well, this is for an effective 2nd place then between these 2 drivers. Because they've both got a clean slate, they've both not got any penalties. Around the outside goes Brizzer, trying for the cutback. Well, he shouldn't have tried that, because he mounted on the curb and picked up a penalty himself. Meanwhile, top 3, Linus Dunn here. Not really in terms of the actual finishing position, but at least on track. We're approaching the final lap of the race. Psycho is probably going to pass Kofi into turn 1, but he's got 6 more seconds of penalty. Surely, if they don't make any kind of contact, Psycho is not going to pull away by 6 seconds in the final lap. Yellow flag. That's a McLaren around. That's Koto around right in front of the leaders. Please be ghosted. And he rolls off to the side. Good job by Koto to roll off to the side of the track. He's still going to pick up a point because he's got 10th place. And Kofi actually fends off Psycho through turn 1. He is 1 lap away from a impressive victory. He's right. He's right. Psycho has made a dive. Penalty. Renzo must be winning. Down the inside goes Psycho. Kofi's way just flashed in front of his eyes, and he's Stanley in this. Stanley is also in this. I need to regroup. So Stanley needs to pull away by 2 seconds over Renzo to win this race. This is ridiculous stuff here in Portugal. Kofi went wide himself through that right-hander exit. He doesn't need to fight either of them, but he made a mistake himself on the final lap of the race. That is going to hand the victory to Renzo. If no penalties get removed, that is, of course. At the end of 33 laps of 33, Psycho will come across the line in P1, Kofi in P2, Phoenix in P3, Stanley is ahead of all of them, but Renzo comes across the line to win the Portuguese Grand Prix. Out of absolute nowhere. What on earth just unfolded in front of our eyes? Incredible. How do we sum that up then? I don't even know where to start. After the Q3, where Raidmeister and Embassy, the two championship contenders, were separated by 1,000th of a second before Embassy pulled it out of the bag on the final lap in Q3. It was on pole, but they chose the wrong strategy by pitting onto the hard tires on the first safety car. And during the second safety, after the second safety car even, Phoenix was in the best spot. But then, everything changed, because Kofi pitted for softs at the end of the second safety car, so he could pit onto the softs again at the end of the third safety car, which means he had track position, he had all the things going for him, but he picked up a crucial final penalty on the final lap of a 33-lap race, which means the only one without any penalties inside the top 6. Renzo takes the victory despite finishing P5 on the road. And somehow Stanley, after struggling so much in the first part of the race, finishes P2 after starting P15. Kofi will be kicking himself unless he can get one of his penalties removed, but it's P3 for now. Ahead of Phoenix, Brisbane, Psycho, Finsick, Raf, Drapery, Balls, and Kodo, the point finishers with Sheps. Both of the championship contenders, Raidmeister and Embassy, out of the session, and Esside, who should have been on pole if he didn't invalidate, also out of the session in the same incident. Well then, that's it for now in the game. We will try to have a look at the incident between I think when one of the drivers sent their POV in Discord. We will swiftly move to that if we can. Let's have a look then at what happened between some of them at least. So on to Twitch we go then. And which is my Chrome? This might take a while to find. Alright, here we go then. This is what we are looking for. This is Embassy's POV of the incident. So, okay. So there is the Alfa Romeo of Finsick. There's the Mercedes of Essed. So Finsick dives and barges the Mercedes out of the way. Finsick has a half spin. Essed has a half spin. Phoenix needs to basically avoid, and he did well, but Embassy lost part of his front wing, and Racemeister, who was behind him in the rear wing mirror here, you can see, also crashed into the back of Embassy. So essentially, the dive bomb from Finsick, that is a dive bomb that's over aggressive in my opinion. That's caused a 3-car DNF from S-side, Embassy, and Raidmeister behind him that we can see kind of in the rear view mirror. I mean, S-side did leave the door open, to be fair. Finsick is allowed to dive here. It's the way he dived and the fact that he completely missed the apex. If he would have made the apex, it would have been a good move. Because you can make the move there. S-side didn't close the door. He left the door open. But it's the fact that he completely miscontrolled his car, like Max Verstappen did on lap 37 in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix against Lewis Hamilton in turn 1. It's the same incident. This has caused more damage, basically, because both of the championship leaders are out of the session. What's the championship situation then? So Phoenix was on 38, Brisbane was on 37, Stanley is on 33. Does any of them have a shot? Phoenix finished P4, so he only gets 8 points, so he's 20 points off. Brisbane only gets P5, I believe. Stanley did get P2, but that's only 12 points. Because Renzo won, and he's a reserve, he doesn't count. So by my calculation, Raidmeister is still champion of this season, despite crashing out with second place Embassy in a more than dramatic Portuguese Grand Prix. Well, here are the chats. Nothing too crazy out of this. But Assad apparently also has a stream. Is it on his profile? Yes. Let's have a look. From the Mercedes himself. Oh, he's a pad player. Oh, that's pretty incredible. To have such crazy pace around Portimao, to be fair. It's not the easiest track to control the car. Yeah. So it will be probably towards the end of the stream where he had the contact. So yeah, he was leading the race. Then because he was on the medium, okay, he got passed by Kofi here. So this is Finsick in the rear view mirror. And here is where Finsick dived. Okay, let's rewind that. Let's look at how far back he came from. So there is him, the Alfa Romeo, in the mirror. There is the dive. I mean, to be fair, from this angle, if I can get it back from this angle, it is a dive, but I think the Mercedes kind of turned into him as well, because there's definitely more space on the outside than on the inside. He probably didn't expect a dive bomb, but this is a tough one. I don't think Finsick is out of control from this view, to be fair. I don't think he's out of control. It's an aggressive move, but I would argue he was already slowing down for the corner apex, and Assad just turned into him. It's more 50-50 from here. He should have opened up steering more, because, I mean, look at the chaos behind him. I don't know what the stewards are going to say to that, but that could go either way, to be fair. That could really go either way. Anyway, that should be it for the Portuguese Grand Prix. I think it is congratulations to Raidmeister for winning the Season 3 of the Exotic Racing Series. We may see you next week in Belgium, or we may not see you. It depends on whether I have time or not, but that's it from Portimao from me. We'll see you next time. Good night.